Yes.
So I think that's a really good thing.
All right, so we're recording. We're on the second. I don't know what we are now. Like, this day has turned out to be kind of interesting. But anyway, for those of you watching this, whoever you are, I'm Coach Judy Prokopiak, coaching, life, leadership coach, nurse, health and wellness expert. And I put this together, this workshop called Creating Your Own Recipe for Remarkable Resilience, because it's like, when you're doing a recipe, you have all these ingredients, you have tools, you have, you need some skills, cooking skills, right? And you kind of are creating this recipe, but you get to customize it, right? If the recipe has mushrooms and I don't like mushrooms, I am not putting them in there, right? Or you're kind of like me and you just make up stuff that sounds good to you and you just eat that. Like, or I don't eat gluten and dairy, so I'm not going to make a recipe that has that, right? And so this whole thing is about creating your little recipe box or a menu of things that you can incorporate to help you become more resilient, to help you, navigate your own nervous system, your own emotional agility, your own, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, all of it, right? So that's really what we're doing here. And so, it's about finding some things. And so I'm bringing in, different experts and trying to help you pick and choose some of the things and try them. You might not have been on right at the beginning, Anne, but we were talking about how like our inbox right now is like 17 steps to, managing your stress, and 14 home workouts you can do, and the three things you need to do to survive COVID, like, and it's like all of this stuff. And then if you try it and you're like, that's not working for me, I don't like, then you judge yourself and you feel bad and you don't even feel any better.
True.
Right? Or you're just overwhelmed with so many things. So it's kind of like, okay, let's, get the toolbox or the recipe card box and put some things in there, because not only can you use them now, you can start saying, what actually does help me? What actually helps? What works for me and my nervous system? What, what is actually, right? So that's what we're doing here. So we're bringing on my good friend, Anne Roberts with Key Fitness, and personal trainer, mindset expert, leadership coach, all the things, wife, mom, amazing woman.
Thank you.
And, so I just thought she could talk about strength and resilience, because I know that when I lift heavy things, I feel more empowered, or when I do that. So
of course, a lot of people don't really understand that either. It takes them getting into our studio to realize, like, wow, this is pretty awesome. I feel better about myself, not just in a oh, I look better way, but in a like I actually mentally feel better sort of way. So
yeah, love it. So what you got for us today? So tell us just a little bit about yourself, if you want.
Sure. Yeah. I have been a certified personal trainer for about 17 years now, which is a little scary, to be honest. High school was not 10 years ago, as I think in my head it was, but.
But you look like it could have been.
No. If my children come out and see me right now, they'll be like, oh my God, you're in your real clothes. You're not in workout clothes. Oh my God, you have makeup on.
We know the reality of that. Yes.
Everyone who knows me would be like, that's not what you normally look like.
I have seen you dressed up and I have seen you dressed down, and it's all, I wouldn't even call it dressed down. I'll call it like dressed for life, and when you're a personal trainer.
It is. Everyone's like, why do you walk around in workout clothes? I'm like, well, if you're a nurse, you go out and
I wear scrubs everywhere. Yes.
Like, it makes no sense. So I've been a trainer for 17 years. My career, I guess, started way back in Montana. We're in the military, so we've moved around a lot. But before that, I went to college for civil engineering. I have a degree in civil engineering, and that did not work out the way I was hoping. Although, if I'm really honest, I chose that major only out of pure anxiety, because the only major I could find in University of Massachusetts that didn't require a foreign language requirement was in the engineering field. And the thought of having to stand up and speak in front of anyone, let alone speak in front of anyone in a different language, was just too much. I would rather go through Calculus 4 and all sorts of stuff than do that. So I kind of got off to the wrong foot in the first place. But here I am, the personal trainer with an engineering degree.
Yeah. You know what? There are lots of, like my daughter has a fine arts degree, but she's an occupational therapist.
Yeah.
And then she went to the one college that didn't have to do physics.
Oh.
She was like, I'm going to be an occupational therapist, master's degree, but as long as there's no physics in this thing, because she took physics in high school and barely survived it. She's like, I'm not doing that again. So.
Oh yeah, and that's like literally the opposite of me. That's all my education. So.
Funny. That's great.
Anyways, I ended up in Montana working at a gym and realized like, I want something a little bit more, and became a personal trainer. And so we've moved around a bunch, and it's taken me, pretty much until the last few years to really realize what kind of people I like to work with, who I benefit from working with, who I want to work with. And here I am in Florida working with mostly women over 60 years old, and I love it.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we're glad that you're here. Like, actually, I tried to get everybody on this call is local, because I did also want, there's a lot of local people in my life, but I also, wanted to expose you to other people, but I also wanted to, I don't know, like I have a feeling though, we could do some other more collaborative things as a local group once we can, actually be with other people.
Someday, right?
Someday, 2021, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad you're here in Florida where we live. But yeah, so tell us what your maybe a little philosophy or what you got for us today around this kind of resilience, because I mean, I know your story, but and we all have a story of resilience. Like, we've all overcome something,
right?
And some of us overcome it a little better than others, for a lot of reasons. We have some childhood things, we got stuff, we have whatever. And, but the reality is that we've all survived our life up until this point.
Yeah, that's quite true, isn't it? For everyone.
I mean, we've all survived it. We've survived whatever's happened to us, whatever we've done. But the idea that, like, we can, back to that recipe box, we can practice these things so that we can have them when we need them, like times like this. We can practice these tools and these skills so that they're a little bit more of how we go through life, instead of just, we're talking about it before, triggers and reacting and all of the things that unless we're really in touch with ourselves.
Right.
Go.
I guess, it's, I think that the whole toolbox thing is really interesting, because like I had taught the previous last few minutes of the yoga people, and yoga has been something I'm like, no, I'm not doing yoga, no yoga. But I will say that about a month before this whole shutdown happened, I started doing yoga. And I think you just go through different seasons of your life where certain things work better. And all of a sudden I'm like, maybe yoga is actually a little bit more for me than I realized. So I don't know. I think you kind of have to find what works for you in that season of your life.
Yeah, as you're moving along, as you're changing and evolving and becoming, and really figuring out what do I need, like, now to help myself, like what would be the best thing for me now. Yeah.
Right. And I truly believe that takes being very honest with yourself. And I think a lot of us have trouble being honest with other people because we're not even honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
So, I guess, like, when it comes to fitness, I mean, there are some just very basic things, but there are some a little bit deeper things that you can think about when you start thinking about, lifting weights. I'm going to start with the not so basic. I'm going to start with the basic ones because it's easier that way. I think if you come into a situation like this and you already have a basis of, say, fitness, you have something to go to when everything seems to be falling out of control. And if I have a fitness goal where I'm going to be, working out 3 times a week, I can continue on with that and not have to think about, oh man, do I have any toilet paper in the house? Like, okay, I'm going to stop thinking about that for a moment and go do what I've just been doing. So you're kind of continuing on with your routine, right? I have one client who she got, her place closed down because she's a hairdresser. And I switched over everyone to kind of Zoom workouts. And for a lot of people, it worked well. For some, it really didn't work well. And they have just kind of said, I'll be back when the time is right. But not her. Although she didn't really like it, she just kept doing it. And it was just part of her routine. Well, they opened back up on Monday. And I thought to myself, like, I wonder if she's going to show up. Because, with a hairdresser, we all know that everyone is freaking out about their hair, except for me that never gets it cut or anything. But most people are freaking out.
Yeah, I just need a haircut. Mine is like,
Yeah, but yours looks nice. Like,
well, it's required a lot of effort this morning, more than I really like to do. Because I like to do very little, and now I have to actually a brush and I got a hairspray. A lot.
Yeah, that's way more effort than me. I'm just doing this so no one can see my gray patch, which is right there.
Yeah. So thank you for the compliment, but it's definitely like it took a lot of something to make this happen, and
well,
I got all kinds of things going on, but it's okay. I figured it out. I was resourceful.
You were, and you're being transparent that you just didn't wake up looking like that, right?
No. I look like Cousin It, like this bang is about this long.
No worries.
All the way. I'm getting like the comb over thing happening.
I like it though. It's not like the Donald Trump comb over. It's much more, much more beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. We digress. But,
yes, digress. It's all right.
But you were wondering if she was going to come back because hairdresser.
And she did, and she showed up, and I was like, "How's it going?" She's like, I'm very stressed. I'm hoping this is going to work. And she stuck with her schedule. She finished the workout. And I was like, how's it going? She's like, it's great. I feel so much better. Yeah. And I think, though, if you don't have that in place before a crisis, it seems like just another added thing in the crisis.
Yeah.
So if you can start having a plan in place way before anything's going to happen, then that just becomes part of your life and makes the crisis a little bit more normal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting more stressed because they were like, they didn't really have a good eating protocol. They didn't have an exercise protocol. They didn't have these routines in place. And now they're just like, now they're telling me I have to go work out. And now they're telling me I need to eat better, but all I want to do is eat Oreos and like,
right.
And now I got to do homeschool and the thing. And so they're like, all the other things that came in, they didn't have those structures in place.
Right.
And so they feel really wobbly, and then they're like, I totally agree.
A spiral.
Right. And reminding people that like there's gonna be some other chaos and crisis. Like it's just happening. We had it this morning. We couldn't make all the things work, whatever. Like, and if I haven't done this for 2 or 3 years, if I didn't have more resilience around it and be like, it's okay, I'm not making this about me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not the problem.
Yeah.
We have a circumstance, we have a situation, and we're just gonna stay calm because like in the yoga episode they were talking about, right? Staying calm, then you can problem solve, then you can, your brain is working, your gray matter, your prefrontal cortex is on point, and you're able to make decisions and move forward. Otherwise, then you're just emotionally eating, staying in bed, numbing out with Netflix, shopping online, whatever people are doing. I don't know.
Right. Which, some of that is okay,
Yes.
Some of that is fine. It's just when that becomes your only
when that's your go-to. Yeah. Because you don't have any other tools to pull from. So awesome. So,
Not to mention the fact that, we all know that exercise in and of itself is a stress relief.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about something that's really intense because, to be honest, that kind of stresses our body in a different way, especially as we get older. I'm talking about just some moderate exercise that you do a couple times a week. Like that's really all we need to have some sort of stress, relief from doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. As a coach myself, I tell people, look, because because a lot of women are caught up in the exercise to lose weight mantra, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, if I just tell people, look, just, exercise or move your body for stress relief, like, right? Because they're telling me how stressed they are. And I'm like, well, why don't you just get on your Peloton at the end of the day to ride out the stress? Like, forget about losing weight or any of that stuff. Like, just use it as a stress reliever, and then you have a different mindset around it. So it's absolutely right. And it could be just going for a walk is also very stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that media tends to make exercise about losing weight or looking a certain way when it really needs to be people like us who are getting the word out that exercise is actually better for your mental health in a lot of ways. Because let's be honest, you're out for a walk, you're not going to burn a lot of calories. I mean, you're just not.
No.
But that doesn't matter. It's about how you feel up here.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure you agree that really, if we start thinking about functional movement, right? It's like, because you work with a lot of older women, and really what we need is more functional movement at certain points in our life. Like, whoever's watching this, but even if you've had an injury or illness or different things,
oh yeah,
like you still want to be functional. And so doing the things that you would do in kind of regular life or to maintain the functionality is also like another mindset trick that people can think about, instead of like, just need to go work out hard and
Well, yeah, I mean, the difference between, first of all, the difference between a 20-year-old and a 50-year-old is huge. But I mean, in my business, I have a 50-year-old and a 94-year-old. My 94-year-old is my oldest client I've ever had. And I tell you what I do with the 50-year-old is not what I'm doing with the 94-year-old. But they get both the same amount of, mental gratitude really from doing the movements that they're able to do.
Yeah, love it. All right. What else you got?
I also have that I think we don't understand that exercising gives us confidence. You achieve a goal when you run a 5K. I mean, no questions. I mean, I've ran a few marathons. I feel extremely achieved, extremely confident. But I've found in my business that the thing that brings women the most confident, and men, I mostly deal with women though, is the ability to lift weights. For some reason, women don't think that they're able to do weightlifting. And when they start realizing that they can, and they're actually pretty darn strong, it really does give them a lot of confidence. For example, I had a client, I honestly, at this point, can't even remember how long she's been with me. It has to be about 2.5 years at this point. She came because when I first started, I was pretty anxious. So I didn't have a lot of clients in the beginning, and I was like giving out gift certificates. And so she came and she was like, yeah, I've never exercised. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, all right. She's like, I don't even think, after these 4, I don't think I'm going to continue. I was like, all right, that's fine. So we'll do what we can do for the 4. Well, she's still my client right now. And she has gone from being someone who never exercised, never even began to even think about herself as a exercise person, to one of my strongest clients. And the other day she was lifting 2 30-pound dumbbells in each hand. And it was like, that is strong. And it gives her confidence.
Yes.
And we can't underestimate that. I have another lady who, she came to me, and honestly, the best word that I could describe her as is frail. She was frail. The most activity she did was like holding onto her shopping cart, walking around Publix. And like, I have her doing push-ups now. And she's like, when asked what her favorite exercise is, it's push-ups, because she's like, I never thought I could do that. And that gives her confidence. And it's huge. It's just a huge mental boost that can help us get through difficult times in our life, because we don't have to experience going through coronavirus once in order to be confident. Like, we will, having gone through difficult times before is going to give us confidence to go through other difficult times, you know?
Right, right. It's like we talked about at the beginning. We've all survived the things in our life. We've all overcome things. And when we can really remember, like, and believe in our own belief in ourselves that like we've done hard things, we went from being frail to empowered. We went from being a non-exerciser to like one of the strongest, women that you train. And so just having that awareness and that intuitive piece that's like, yeah, I have overcome and done hard things, and I have, right? And that gives you again that confidence to know, that belief in that yourself, that like, oh, I did go through that, and this, whatever, a divorce or this or that, it doesn't even, like, whatever it is, and then those are the things that you can take to help you in the next crisis and the next crisis and the next crisis.
Right, exactly.
But I do agree with you. Like, there's something about lifting heavy things, even if it's just your body weight. Like, there's something about that is so empowering internally.
Yep.
Feeling strong outside, and there's probably some psychological dynamics back around that where we didn't feel empowered, we didn't have a voice, we didn't have a vote, there's probably something in our DNA.
Yeah, probably.
Like now when we're like, now we're like strong, confident, we can speak, we can stand up, like we're not vulnerable in that way, that we're like going to be attacked like physically, so we can feel like we can emotionally then hold ourselves. Right, Rosie the Riveter?
There you go.
I love it. Awesome. What else you want to share?
Our time? What time is it? Oh, it's
we're kind of, we got to wrap it up maybe, but if you want to.
I feel like strength training, I'm going to go off on that because that is like literally my favorite thing to do. It really does mimic the stress we're faced in everyday life. And because, we take a stress and we do it and we recover, we adapt, and then we go on to the next one. So in weightlifting, you say, do curls with 10 pounds. You do that for a week and that's easy. And so then you go to 12 and a half, and then you do that and it's easy. And so we keep overcoming and adapting and keep moving the stress up, which is exactly what you really need to do in your everyday life. You have to be exposed to some sort of stress in order to become more resilient.
That's, I love it. That's perfect, because, I think people feel like they want to get rid of the stress in their life. Like, that they just need it. Like, if I just didn't have so much stress, and it's like,
no.
First of all, we need stress, like you just said, just like to build the muscles, and otherwise we need some stress to move us forward, to propel us a little bit. We need to feel a little stress, or else we are going to feel like, I'm just going to coast through life, float around. But then there's also, like I said it earlier, that like technically there's no stress in the world. There is only people having stressful thoughts. There really isn't, there's not there's stress right there. It's like, because what's stressful for you might not create stress for me.
Exactly. Totally agree.
Right. So, but there are circumstances that are showing up in the world, and it's how we're navigating it. Right. And again, we're back to the toolbox or the recipe box or the menu or whatever you want to call it, how we're going to, get through it. So definitely, I love that. Yes. Adapt, overcome. And what's the Marine Corps? My son and son-in-law, Marines, like adapt, overcome, and something. I don't even remember what it is, but it's basically that. It's like, whatever they got coming at you, you'll be able to
figure it out,
adapt and overcome and pivot and figure it out. So how can people find you and learn more about you and all that?
So I am in Fernandina Beach on the island at 1897 Island Walkway. That is behind Zaxby's, which I know is a phenomenal, location for a trainer. But everyone seems to know where Zaxby's is, so I'm there. I'm also on Facebook at Key Fitness Personal Training. And I have a website, although if you really want to get in touch with me, the best way is through my Facebook site.
Okay, awesome.
So.
Thank you so much for showing up with your flexible nervous system. And you're
There you
flexing
go.
your muscles on resilience for us. No, really, thank you for, just thanks for showing up and sharing your story and sharing really some really valuable insight for people to take and implement. And like you said, I think the best thing is implementing. Oh yeah, wait, what is the one thing that your message to the world? I think we talked.
Yeah, my message to the world, I'm gonna have to, I want, what I want everyone to know is, I have two messages. I'm gonna pick the most relevant though. What I want everyone
You could do both. It will be okay.
Okay.
We're gonna let who's coming next. He can wait a few seconds.
I know, I'll just knock on the window. You're never like, what works for your cousin and what works for your sister and what works for me isn't gonna work for you. Because even though we might be the same age, the same weight, the same height, the same everything, we're not truly the same everything. So you really, and as much as no one wants to believe this, you have to have a trial and error.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna pick something and guess what? It may work 80%, maybe that's good enough. Maybe it won't be. It's like, that's why this diet works for this person, this diet works for this person. You have to pick what's gonna work for you, not just based on what's gonna work for other people.
And you even talked about seasons of life, like, right? It's like
yes,
eating protocol or exercise protocol or whatever, all the things. It's like you have to keep going and trying. You're like, okay, I need like the recipes. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna try this recipe.
right.
Yeah, not really for me. I really like that.
I mean, you even can think about it, my kids, like my daughter's like salad, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden now we're getting salad. So, I mean, she's kind of moving through her seasons.
I love it.
That one, and this is actually very near and dear to my heart. I truly believe that we don't have to believe all the feelings that we have.
Yep.
And this is something that I really don't, like, I didn't learn until recently, but like, just because you're having a feeling that say you're fat or you feel jealous or you feel this, it really, you don't have to believe that because feelings come from thoughts. Thoughts are based in our own belief system, and generally our belief system happened to us forever ago, or it happened,
We've created our belief system along the way with things that have happened to us, things we've done. We've created our own.
Yeah. And it happened to me this morning, actually. Like last night, I knowingly had pizza and beer because that's what we do on Friday night. And I woke up and I weighed myself and I was 3 pounds heavier. Now, I know I am not 3 pounds heavier or fat. I know I'm not. Right. But there's that little weird feeling inside of me that's like, 3 pounds, come on, Ann. And then I see your thing about avocado toast, and I'm like, oh, she's eating avocado toast. Maybe I should eat avocado. But like, I want everyone to know, like, I'm a trainer. This is what I do, and I still have these thoughts, but I don't have to believe them, and I just want to. So that's
you get to noticing the thought, like noticing the trigger. We talked about it earlier in the yoga episode. Noticing the trigger and just sort of then noticing your thoughts that are around that. And you're just like, okay, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Because that's one of my, like, WAIT. What am I thinking? Wait, pause, take a second. What is the sentence in my head right now, right? Because then that sentence collects other sentences.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then you were like, probably like, why did I drink the beer and pizza? Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? I know better. And then you have to go all in and be like, no, it's okay. I made
that choice. I made that choice to do that. And I wanted to, and I was happy with it. And it's something I enjoy. I don't need to follow this rabbit hole of bad thoughts. So
that's so perfect. A great way to end because, our thoughts are always creating our reality.
Yep.
And so kind of wrapping it all up with COVID-19, a pandemic or whatever. Yep. It's like, guess what? Your thoughts about there are some people that are at home and they're just like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. They are like, this is awesome. Stay home and play video games.
Yep.
They're just like, whatever, so, and then other people, like, so everybody's having their own thoughts and their own experience and their own stuff. And I'm like, hey, this is pretty much my life. Zoom calls and
right. Yeah.
A lot changed for me.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
But I do miss the people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you again. I loved having you on there. I love your philosophy, always have. And which is why I wanted you to come and share it with whoever sees this. Thanks, Ashley, for coming on. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop this recording and then we'll start the next one. So have a great day. And yep, let's just keep
going.
working on remarkable resilience, because it's totally like, there's going to be other stuff that shows up in your life, unless you're living in a cave, and then there'll still be some problems there. Got to tell you, wherever you are the common denominator in your life. So
good point.
Wherever you are, that's where it's going to be. All right. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.
Bye.